Do you have an internal bulletin board? Here's what I mean. Do you have a space in your mind where you have put all the criticism that you've received in your lifetime? In the sports world, we call this the bulletin board. I had a bulletin board, or at least at times still probably have a bulletin board. For me in particular, you see, I love basketball. But growing up, I was one of the shortest kids in my classes. So I can't tell you how many times I had peers, coaches, other people saying, you're not tall enough to play basketball. You're not athletic enough. I heard that when I was playing basketball in high school. I heard that when I was playing basketball in college as well. But you see, my bulletin board is not just limited to the athletic world. This was life as well. I mean, I still remember specific people who said that I didn't have the experience or the education to lead an organization, or I didn't have the certification to be a successful coach. You see, I'm not alone. Most leaders, most high performers, they have this internal bulletin board. So what's on your bulletin board? Maybe for you, it's the people who said you weren't good enough. It was the naysayers. They said that you wouldn't be able to accomplish stuff. You wouldn't be successful. And there could be a myriad of reasons of why. Maybe it was based upon your family, how you grew up, your stature, your athletic ability or the lack thereof. Or maybe it was because of your gender, your race, ethnicity, nationality. For others, their bulletin board has more to do with comparison. Wanting to be seen as successful. Do they have a bigger house than other people? Do they have a healthier marriage? Are their kids more recognized than other people? Now, I gotta tell you this, there's nothing wrong with wanting a nice house, a healthy marriage, kids that you're proud of, getting that job that you really want or that promotion. But you see, the bulletin board is dangerous. And the reason why the bulletin board is dangerous is that if we really dig deep down inside, we'd recognize that the motivation it uses, it's anger. That's the fuel. And what's really deceptive about it is that the bulletin board actually works, at least for a short term. I mean, if I look back at my life, and I have to be honest, my internal bulletin board, me really dwelling on the critics and wanting to prove them wrong, it helped me to be a better athlete. It helped me to be more successful at basketball. It's helped me as a leader. But at what cost? Ryan Holiday, in his book, Stillness is the Key, says this. I think this is so good. I want to read this for you. He says, if history is any indication, leaders, artists, generals, and athletes who are driven primarily by anger, aka bulletin board, not only tend to fail over a long enough time, but don't miss this, they tend to be miserable, even if they don't fail. You see, many of you already think about, yeah, but Shawn, I can think about all these successful people. Michael Jordan might come to your mind, who had this bulletin board, who had these critics and wanted to prove them wrong, and they did it. They were successful. Yes, they were, but we could also point out a ton of other people who used that same anger, revenge, that bulletin board, and they failed over time. Drug addiction, multiple affairs, all these other things, you name it, right? And then even for the people who did succeed, they're miserable. And the reason why is the deception of the bulletin board is you can't quench anger. You never arrive. You never hit the point. Your bulletin board's never empty. There's always somebody else you're trying to prove yourselves to. But I think even worse than that we have to be careful with our bulletin board, is that we become like our critics on the board. Those people who degraded us, we end up degrading them and our minds. We end up degrading ourselves because we stoop to their level. So here's my encouragement for you. Get rid of the bulletin board. Here's some of the antidotes that we can use. Okay, here's some things I wrote down. First off, don't give critics your mental energy. Don't dwell on the things other people said. Yes, have people in your life that you trust who can tell you harsh truth, but don't worry about people you don't have a relationship with giving you criticism. Limit how much you compare yourself to other people. I think that's key right here. And then here's the big one. compete against yourself, not other people. Your goal in this life is to become the best version of yourself, not what other people want you to be. That's your goal. You need to live in alignment with your vision and values, not with what other people think they are. So here's my game plan for you. Ask yourself a couple hard questions, okay? Who are the critics on your bulletin board? What is the specific criticism that's there? Now, I don't want to give that too much power, but at least one time, acknowledge them, lean into it, and then even verbalize this with somebody else that you trust. Tell somebody else. When you do that, it loses its power. And then what I want you to do is that as you still have that bulletin board and you remove those critics, put up instead your successes. What have you accomplished? Who have you helped? What are those things that you are proud of that you have done? And then what are your future goals? Not what other people want you to do. What are the things that you want to accomplish instead? That is healthy motivation and healthy fuel. Let me leave you with our tweetable lesson. Reflect on your successes just as much, if not even more, than your failures.